Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Think Big podcast. We are looking at episode number 94, which I was just talking about. Somebody earlier today, Sam, said to me, we're in Kansas City right now. We're traveling around the world. I think people know this. At this point, it feels like we're traveling around the world. We are still just in the continental United States, but for all intents and purposes, eventually we will get to the other beautiful countries of this planet. So we're traveling around the world, and someone tonight invited us out to dinner. And I said, I cannot be there because the Think Big podcast. We have been consistent. And they said, well, come on, can't you just miss one episode? Can't you just? I said, no, we have been consistent for 94 episodes. And although I know, Sam, you were willing to hold it down, you even said, hey, dude, if you got to go out and you got to be somewhere and you got to network and you got to go mingle and do Marlon things, that I was free to go. And I appreciate that about you, but I wanted to be here because I miss seeing your beautiful face. And I know people think that we just sit on FaceTime together all day, but sometimes we don't get to see each other for a week at a time. And I don't want to miss the opportunity to hang out with you. I didn't get to hang out with you last week. And so I'm excited to be here because I know you're going to be blowing some people's brains tonight, melting some minds. And last week we had a couple of people who were on who said they were coming back this week. They had questions. So I want to make sure everyone's questions are being answered. And so, guys, if you're here for the first time, welcome to the episode. We're going to be talking some high-level business, talking about how to think bigger. And if you can, do me a favor, drop a comment. Let me know, where are you streaming in from? What state are you streaming in from right now? What part of the world are you streaming in from? But Sam, how are you feeling today? What are we going to be talking about?
Dude, I've missed you. I feel like we were playing Think Big tag because I think I led a day when you were doing Marlon stuff, and then when I was doing Sam stuff, you led the day, and I'm like, dude, I haven't seen my best friend in like 3 weeks, which sucks. But today's a good day, man. Today's a really good day because I want to hit on something a little bit higher level. I want to hit on something a little bit tactical. And that is that people's businesses suck. They suck. They completely suck. And dude, the other week when it was just me and I was in that Vegas Airbnb leading it, I really went ham on one specific thing, and that's how sales and marketing, right? Marketing and sales, those two core components of business, right? They're two of the 6 core components of business that if you inject the right way into your business, you can just scale to the roof. Now, I went so ham on that, and I think people loved it. And what was really cool, dude, is that we had a lot of people show up that day and a lot of people who were very engaged in that conversation. And one of the cool things for me was that it was landing with so many people who aren't just wholesalers or flippers. Bro, we had TCs and lenders, mainly TCs and lenders, who were in the chat just going crazy about how they can implement the things that we were teaching in their business. And I am so hell-bent on this because you know me. I like disappearing into my cave, working on the portfolio businesses, working on growing my net worth, on my enterprise value. And one thing that I realized, man, and I'm such an advocate of this, is that the bar is so goddamn low in business. The competition, everyone is like worried about their competition, right? Everybody's worried about their competition. And people don't realize how shitty the competition is because the competition doesn't realize there are 6 core pillars in business. And each of those 6 core pillars has 100 sub pillars, and they all need to be worked on. And the fun fact is you don't have to master all 6, but you just got to get better at one, right? You got to get really good at one. And then if you just start getting, once you've mastered one, that's a huge competitive advantage. It puts you in front of like 90% of your competition, right? Because most of your competition can't even get half good at half of one. If you can master one of the 6 pillars, like, trust me, you're not going to have a problem making money in your life. Now, if you want to get market share, if you want to actually outcompete your competition, have a competitive advantage against your competition, you need to start dabbling in perfecting some of the other things too. And in my businesses, we're getting especially one portfolio business, we're getting really damn good at bypassing our competition at light speed. And you have some knowledge about this business and that we're kind of the front runner right now. And we're very aware of what that means. And that also means that we have to know that while you're ahead, you probably have to double down even more at getting further ahead. And that's the key. So we're working on the other, I'm really good at marketing. I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at understanding that stuff. but I need to understand that moving forward, I need to perfect the other pillars as well, right? That's a huge thing. And so today, I want to talk about the pillar that I think largely gets undiscussed on social media, that no one really talks about on YouTube, because it's probably one of the more like non-sexy things, but in fact it's actually like the golden ticket to growing your business outside of marketing and sales. And that's, how do you actually automate your business by replacing yourself? And let me know, guys, am I still coming through, or is just Marlon frozen? I don't know, is Marlon frozen, or is that just me?
I think I'm freezing. You're good?
I'm okay. Now you're back. You're back. Okay, sweet. Good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're good now. Okay. And here's the thing, guys. I see this happen all the time. It's really kind of interesting to see the type of people that we attract, right? Marlon, I think you attract a lot of people who are in a stage where they're not really looking for business help too much, or they might think they are. The reality is they're coming to you, they're saying, hey, Marlon, I need help with my business. I'm struggling with my business. And then you can very quickly, within like a 2-minute conversation, realize the business isn't the issue. It's a behavior thing. It's an action thing. It's a habits thing, right? And you can kind of guide them down the way that they need to be helped. I find the people who come to me, I don't get newbies, right? I don't get people who come to me with mindset stuff. And if I do, I always direct them to you because you're way better suited at it than I am. I get people who've hit a wall in their business. They've been doing their business for, 1 or 2 or 3 years, and they've hit like this weird glass ceiling they can't break through, and they don't know why. And usually what I'm constantly seeing over and over and over again is these people are really good doers, right? They're really good doers. And here's the thing with the really good doers. Without too much work, they become fairly good managers. The problem between a doer and a manager, like that gap is not huge. It's not a massive gap to go from being a good doer to being a good manager. It's another thing to become a freaking CEO or a business owner who knows how to manage managers, manage directors, direct directors. That's a different ballgame completely. And so I want people to start thinking about this, okay? And I'm putting wholesale businesses to the side because ironically, we're attracting a lot of TCs and lenders, which I actually freaking love because, dude, I talked about this the other week. If there was any business, industry, or like micro niche in real estate that I think you can start like today and have the easiest route to scaling, to me, it's lending. I think lenders are so underdeveloped in their business skill sets. And tons of lenders, tons of people want to give you their money, right? And you realize all these people want to be lenders, but they're just someone who's got 50K in their bank account. And then you see the people who try to become professional lenders, and all they do is gather all these other people who've got 50K, and they go find deals and put them in, and that's about it. And it's like this kind of connection model, right? And they never really scale either. And it wasn't until very recently, man, I talked about this the other week, where I went and spent time with someone who's doing between 3 to 4 million a year in interest in lending. That's huge. They're making 3-4 million a year in interest, which is just pure profit, right? And the crazy thing is they've got one person running the business, okay, at a suboptimal like kind of compensation plan, which is not a hyper profitable compensation plan. They're like, in my opinion, overpaying this talent. And then 2, almost the entire business is being run on Excel spreadsheets. Now, I love that because it goes to show that it's possible, right? What do I not like about that? Or what do I do like about it is that if I went into their marketplace, I know if I could just go gather the same amount of capital they have to deploy, right? Go gather that much liquidity in terms of business systems, personnel, hiring, the whole nine, I could crush their enterprise. And I could truly fly by them just because I know how to hire and build a business better. And so I think everyone needs to start realizing this. No matter if you're a lender, a TC, whatever the hell it is, you should be thinking, how do I create a moat around my business? How do I not get washed out of the marketplace? Because if your infrastructure is not developed, what ends up happening is this: you will get undercut on price. You know how I know this? The TC world, transaction coordinators. They're transaction coordinators who charge $1,200, $1,500, $1,600 and bring a premier service to the table, right? They know the stuff really well. Problem is, unless there's something astronomically amazing about what they do, which sometimes there may not be. They get undercut by someone who has no clue what they're doing and will do it for $400, right? The competitive moat is not there. It doesn't protect them. It doesn't insulate them against newcomers in the marketplace. It doesn't insulate them against everything else that may or may not happen. And so I'm really big on whatever your business is, whether it's wholesaling or lending or being a TC, whatever the hell it is, you need to get really good at marketing sales, which we've talked a million times about. And then we want to get really freaking good at replacing ourselves. So today, man, I want to go over a framework. It's we don't have a ton of time, but I want to go over a framework that you can use to basically understand how to hire properly. And because I'm in a phase right now where if anyone, just so I can go on this little quick tangent here, I'm really obsessed with growing my net worth right now. Like that's it. And I grow my net worth by making my businesses worth more money, right? And what I've realized is my businesses infinitely become more worthy, more valuable, not just based on how much profit we take in, but based on how less of me is needed. How transferable is my business? Can I just step away and walk away, right? And usually what that does is it'll highlight lacking in your business or constraints in your business with hiring and building a team. So, Marlon, before we get cranking on some framework stuff, anything you want to add? Because I just talked for like 5 minutes.
No, dude, honestly, this is one of those episodes. There are weeks where I love when you lead because I bust out the notepad, right? So I've got the notepad ready to go. I did see Zach's question, so I'm glad we brought that up on the screen because he had a great question. So I'll read it out loud and I'll tell you your answer on it because I know I got an opinion. Do you guys think there are certain businesses that are not scalable, or do you think any business, regardless of their niche, is capable of scaling to a respectable size? So Zach, that's a great question you're asking. Sam, I got my opinion. What do you think about this?
I think that every business inherently is scalable. Now you have two different types of scale. You have linear scale and you have exponential scale. That being said, I think that there are businesses. I think it's not a black or white yes or no. I think it's a spectrum of how scalable are they. That would be my answer. Now I'll give you like a quick kind of perspective on this. Look at a laundromat business. Laundromat businesses, you can open up more locations, but they're brick and mortar, right? So you have permitting, you have all of these, and you have to go and find physical locations. So you can go and get 100 laundromats in your town. You absolutely can, right? You can, it's possible. That being said, is that nearly as scalable as a software business? Or as a business where maybe like, let's just say you're a wholesaler and you run a completely virtual team where you don't have to worry about, rent and leases and all of these things that come together with owning brick and mortar. So is brick and mortar, does it mean that's not scalable? No, it absolutely is. Look at McDonald's, look at Chick-fil-A, look at Planet Fitness. They're all brick and mortar. They're scalable. The question should be, how scalable is this? And I think if you're a good entrepreneur, you need to ask yourself this key question. With where I am at right now, with my skill sets, resources, talents, everything that I bring to the table, is this a business model, no matter how scalable I think it is, that I myself can scale right now? There's businesses, bro, that I will never do, even though I know how to scale them. Why? Because I have opportunity cost. I know other business models that are more scalable, so I index my focus and attention on those. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, and so I would agree with you. I believe everything is scalable, but it becomes the question of, is the juice worth the squeeze? Last night, particularly, I sat down with a gentleman who just recently paid a lot of money to be in a mastermind. He's paying $30,000 annually to be in a mastermind, and he's got a business. It's for business owners selling baseball cards. And when we talked about what he's got going on, he's doing low margin baseball cards where he's sitting on about $150,000 of potential profit, but it would take him years to get it sold. And when I talked to him about, can we hire somebody to get it done? Can we move it? The issue was it's not enough margin to warrant the work to hire the right people. So effectively being able to look at the potential opportunity and understand what is the ease of scaling this opportunity? Is this an opportunity vehicle worth scaling? What's the return on effort? Because everything given enough time will eventually win and make money. But what's the return on effort in a certain period of time? That's what ultimately I've been taught to look at, because I think it was Alex that had said this, Alex Ramosi, that put this thought in my mind, that the difference between millionaires and billionaires is billionaires look at the size of the opportunity. And so when we're looking at scalability, you look at what is the potential size of this opportunity. So yeah, that's my thought process is when you're looking at certain businesses, some businesses are going to have a larger size of opportunity versus others.
So I'm going to hit on this really quick because this actually does come in line with what we're going to talk about today, guys. And it's something that no one. This is like a term that I had to make up because I never saw anyone else like address this term. And so I'm hoping someone finds a better way to articulate this. But in my mind, it reads as logistical drag, right? It's not just that you need to, like, people don't realize this. To start a restaurant, the logistical drag isn't in hiring the waiter or the wait staff or the chefs. The logistical drag comes from, let's just say you're trying to make a sandwich, right? That's like your thing is a sandwich, right? Well, let's just say you have a chicken sandwich, a steak sandwich, and a fish sandwich. Well, guess what? For the fish, you need to make sure you have the connections logistically to a place where you can source good seafood that's fresh. And then for the bread, you need to make sure that you're close to a bakery. And then all of those, because you don't own the bakery, you don't own the seafood market, right? You are subject to all of their kind of dilemmas and drags that they may have. Marlon, you were good, dude. But yeah, so at the guys, Marlon's just so worried about his internet connection in his RV in Kansas City. I mean,
we're in the middle of Kansas City, a storm's
dude,
about
I'm
to
over
roll
here.
in.
That's all that matters, dog. Bro, we're coming up on episode 100.
Clear audio.
Bro, we're gonna hit episode 100 even if we have a freaking potato to film with. Like, it doesn't matter. But yes, logistical drag is important, and it also is really important in how you hire. So this is one key insight, Zach, that I want to give you. When portfolio companies and private equity companies come in and they want to acquire a new business, they usually like that $1 to $3 million kind of range in terms of revenue, in terms of applicants, right? They want the applicants to be doing minimum like 1 to 3, 1 to 5 million. Here's the problem with that. One, the good thing, it's like a house, right? It's like flipping a house. You can add value and forcefully grow the business. The problem with a lot of businesses in that 1 to 3, 1 to 5 range is based on the nature of the business, they may not have the profit margin to reinvest in new hiring, in new marketing, right? If you're doing $1 million a year and you have 2 partners in the business and you both need to live off the business, you're both taking 60 grand a year, it's $120,000 a month. Like, let's do some quick math here. $1 million a year in revenue, okay? You're running, let's just say at a 50% profit margin. That's a decent freaking business. That's actually a solid business. Now that's 500,000 top line. Now you have both owners taking, let's just say quick math, 50K a year to pay for their homes, pay for their meals, the whole nine. That 500,000 goes to 400. Okay. And then you have like taxes on all of them. And they're trying to save a little bit of money too. The problem is, what do you actually have left to reinvest in A-level talent, in A-level marketing, right? And like have enough of it to gather enough data to reinvest in the business. Now, like, imagine you're brick and mortar. Like, imagine you're in food with perishable food, right? All I'm saying is this: not all business models are built equally. And as Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank says, there are some businesses that are absolutely born in hell, so they should stay in hell. I love that by Kevin O'Leary. Okay. So right off the bat, I'm going to hit on this, and we don't have a ton of time, so I'm just going to kind of speed through this. Was that Linda?
Yep, that's Linda.
Hi, Linda. Okay, so what I want to hit on is a basic framework, right? That we're going to pound through this, and if we have time, because like the reality is this is going to be, I already have this mapped out, bro. This is a 4-hour masterclass to do this all the way through. So right off the bat is this. In every business that I'm seeing, so many people are getting obsessed with hiring friends who they meet in mentorships or communities in like-minded rooms because, you know, proximity is power, the whole nine. Guys, that is a short-term win at a long-term cost. I have never, and I mean never, met two people who've come together in a mentorship to form a business where one person kind of pseudo hired the other to train them up to run the business, where that person didn't eventually become shiny objected and then go and do their own thing, tanking the business. And while there is a short-term win at hiring a friend, hiring someone in a mentorship or a community that you're in, right? Because they already know a lot. And that's why people do it. Marlon, why do people go and hire from a community they're already in? It's because that person knows all this stuff already. You don't have to train them as much, right? The problem is this: we don't set up the business to approach a new hire who doesn't know their head from their ass yet. And so what ends up happening is the friend, the homie that you hired to run your freaking business, when they grow and they decide, you know what, I don't need a partner, I can go do this on my own, and they bounce out. The problem is there comes a vacuum in your business, right? Where your operating partner just left. And the problem is now you have this void in your business, and this is where people falter. They never developed the business infrastructure in recruiting, hiring, onboarding, and retaining talent. So you know what they do? They're met with one of two options. They go hire someone else from the community because they've been encouraged and affirmed that to some degree that model works. And it's kind of like the easy thing to do, right? It's like, it's right there. You can pretty much plug someone in, put them into the business right then and there. You do that, or you decide, I don't want to do that because I know in 6 months they're going to leave me anyways. I'm just going to be back here and I'm going to have this revolving door of partners who are supposed to be operating the business. You know what they do? They just say, oh, this business model sucks. It's not scalable. It doesn't work. The answer is no. It absolutely freaking works. And I'm going to die on this hill, bro. I will freaking die on this hill, and I'm okay with it. I firmly believe that 99.9% of people partner in businesses because they do not know how to hire. That is it. You partner because it is a shortcut, and it is the easy button that is saving you from learning how to build SOPs, actually put together a job posting, freaking be an adult and conduct interviews, and then train and retain talent. That's why we partner. It's easier to just give someone 50% and just say, hey, figure it the hell out because you're a 50% owner, than it is to be like, hey, you're on salary and I need to be a manager now. I need to be a director. I need to be a big boy business owner. So, guys, do not hire from your communities. I'm in 100 and go ahead.
I got to say something. I do agree with you, and it's funny because as you're saying that, I'm just like thinking back in past with previous partnerships. I've done the partnering, right? Like I've gone and I've gotten partners, and guys, Sam is absolutely correct because as I'm reflecting on my past decision, the thought process was if I get a partner, whatever responsibility I give them, it's not my responsibility anymore. And so I'm not to blame anymore. I can point the finger at somebody else. And to Sam's point, if I'm a big boy and I go and I build my business proper and I learn the skill set of hiring and I learn the skill set of SOPs and of putting the proper systems in place, the scary part that I'm afraid people are worried about, and I'm going to tell you guys this, you're worried that now if it doesn't work, it's your fault, because it is. Because you're the owner and you're the creator of the business. And so if the system's not working, it's because you built a broken system. It's not because systems don't work. So Sam, I love that. And I just got to let people know, like, because sometimes people are like, their defenses are up because they're like, oh, Sam's coming at me. Guys, Sam's coming at me too right now. So I'm like, you guys are safe. Like, listen to what he's saying right now, which is why I'm literally taking notes as Sam is talking.
Dude, I love that. You know, and it's so funny. I want you to, you hit on something. Have you noticed this? And I think about this because I know that you've talked to so many people who've had these partnerships, right? The person who leaves, right? The guy who ends up leaving, the guy who came on as like the junior, it's always this setup, man. Visionary hires another like co-partner, pseudo sub-visionary to basically run the business for them and replace them right off the bat and be like the CEO. So I don't have to be a real CEO, right? Have you noticed this? Every time the junior partner leaves, does the main visionary who started the thing, have you ever seen them actually take accountability and say, no, this is my fault? I've noticed they all do one thing. They all blame the guy who left. It's his fault. No, like he just wanted to come in and learn and like, you know, steal from me, this, that, and the other. And like, I don't think that was the case. I think that they wanted to learn and then they learned. They got what they came for. You just didn't realize that that's what you were signing on for because you thought you were just going to have someone replace you completely. And so, guys, do not hire from a community that you're in with like-minded entrepreneurs. It is a recipe for disaster. I'm sorry. I have a partner named Sasha who I adore and I cherish her truly. And the reality is this: I had to go through like 200 freaking people to find one Sasha. Like, that's it. It is not an easy thing to do. So that's number one. Where do we learn to hire? How do we learn how to hire? Where do we go? If I can't go to the Facebook community that I'm in, if I can't go to the mentorship or mastermind, where do I go? Guys, Indeed is one of the biggest businesses on earth for a freaking reason. And every freaking business on earth, like almost every single business on earth is hiring from Indeed. Your local governments, your cities, your states, your federal governments. How do I know this? Because that's where they would usually post a lot of their jobs. They would post on their main websites and then copy and paste the thing on Indeed because Indeed has all the eyeballs, right? Every business, public, private, corporate, whatever it is on Indeed or jobs.com. Or I think the other one's called like Monster or something. And you guys, excuse my ignorance for not applying for jobs because I don't apply for jobs. But like the reality is, like that's where they are. Like when I hire, we hire off of Indeed, or if we're hiring overseas talent, you can go to onlinejobs.ph or Fiverr or Upwork or all these places where you can go source this talent. Moving forward, if you want to grow your damn business and have it actually be worth something, you need to learn how to actually put up actual job postings. Because here's the key. If you want your business to be worth something and you want to sell it to a private equity firm, like a lot of us here want to be like, dude, I want to sell a business for 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, right? And we want to sell it to a big PE firm. Marlon, is that PE firm in the freaking mastermind that you're in? No.
Not at all.
Are they going to be able to go and replace your lead manager in the Facebook group that you're in? No. And if they find out that your SOP for replacing talent is post in Facebook group, they're officially your HR department is worthless and non-existent, and it hurts the value of your company.
And let's talk about why that is, guys. It's because it's not duplicatable by a stranger. You have clout in your Facebook community. You have rapport in your Facebook community. You are a special piece. Special businesses are not as valuable as you think. Cookie cutter businesses are.
Dude, that's huge. So it's like a lot of people don't understand this. You mentioned Alex, right? Alex Hormozy. He owns not tons, but he owns a lot of big businesses, right? He owns a lot of big businesses that crush. Have you ever seen him once outside of school in gym launch, which he came up with? Have you ever seen him talk about his other businesses or promote them in any way, shape, or form? Like, no. The answer is no. Why? Because he understands that the artificial spike in revenue that will come into that business from his marketing push will not have a legitimate standing enterprise value. Why? Because Alex Hormozy, if he sells, he doesn't come with the business, right? So one of my mentors, I talk about them quite a bit to you. They're in the roofing space and they make tons of money. They just exited their business, right? They just made a big old exit in their business. This light keeps turning off. I'm sorry. Oopsie. There we go. Okay. They just made a big old exit in their business. And the key is this, is that in order to be able to walk away clean, you have to be removable completely. And if you're not, and the business isn't set up for that, that's where you get those sticky situations where you didn't necessarily get the exit number you wanted, and a condition of them buying out the majority of your business is you have to stay on for 3, 4, 5 years as an advisor. And you're like, I just built this business to 9 figures. I want to sell it and be done. And then I didn't realize that because I didn't form everything properly, I have to stay with the business as a W-2 employee for the next 3, 4 years. And that's a lot of people don't realize. Guys, I have a lot of friends who've exited businesses or in the process of exiting, and they're all like punching the air right now because they didn't structure everything as well as they could have. And they're like making the big 10 million, 20 million, $50 million like to their pocket. But if they ironed things out even more, they would have had a $75 million exit. They would have had $100 million, and they wouldn't have to be a W-2 employee that comes with the sale. So guys, hire off the right places. Okay. Huge. Why? Here's another big thing. You will get people who are employee minded, right? Mm-hmm. Gator to close says your friend has an owner mindset instead of an employee mindset. 100%. Guys, the people who go to Indeed are not going to Indeed to become CEOs and business owners. They are looking for what? A job. You are going to find people who are W-2 minded. And that's exactly what your business needs. So you need to go there. And here's a key thing, guys. I want to talk about this. I'm going to drop some. It's so funny because I love not gatekeeping. One of my friends, Ryan Schroep, put me on this, and I thought it was amazing. I sent this to one of my partners. I sent this to all of my partners already within like 20 minutes of him telling me this. So I'm not going to go into how to make an SOP, but every action, everything that's required, every task, if you're a wholesaler, all the way from pulling a list to putting it into a CRM, to tagging it, to scrubbing phone numbers, to moving a lead from whatever tool you use, Batch Leads, PropStream, whatever the hell it is, right? County foreclosure website, whatever it is, into your data management tool, you need to have an instructional guide on that. And I think everyone sucks at SOPs. Your SOPs need to come in 3 formats, always 3. No more, no less. If you do 3, you're hitting 3 different types of way of learning. Number 1 is the most boring, Google Docs, Word. Step 1, writing it out, right? Highlight lead, this, that, and the other, move it over to, Podio CRM, hit this button, very basic, no visuals, just explicitly written. Why? There are people who learn that way. And you as a business owner, once you get really good at that, you'll start understanding how to communicate to different learners. And that's critical. Marlon, you understand this because you do a lot of high performance coaching. Isn't it true that like not everyone naturally learns the way that you like talking to people?
Yep.
Like
Everyone has a different way of learning. And as an owner, as a leader, as a teacher, you have to be able to communicate to people the way they receive information, not just the way you like giving information. That's critical.
Yep. Understanding, guys. I always say this. It's become a hallmark for me recently. I believe there's a tremendous value to having ego as an entrepreneur. I think the greatest athletes, the greatest like legacy builders of all time have an ego, but it's an internal ego, not an external ego, right? They don't allow it to carry out and like treat other people poorly, but they have to hype themselves up. Now, but one thing that I do want to understand is this, or I do want to communicate is this. As a business owner, you can never have extreme arrogance or extreme ignorance. What do I mean by extreme arrogance? I'm such an amazing communicator that if I say it, everyone should be able to understand it and accept it. And if they don't, or if they can't absorb the way that I'm communicating to them, it's because they suck. That is extreme arrogance. And it just means that you suck at communicating. You suck at being malleable, right? And extreme ignorance is the same as me going and only doing the written word, right? Only doing the Microsoft Docs or the Google Docs and assuming that everyone's going to be able to understand this because that's how I like it, right? I don't understand that there's other people who need visuals, who need auditory reinforcement, right? It's crazy. Oh, dude, Rich Knowles is here. Love Rich Knowles,
bro.
Bro, every time I see him, I'm just like, I gotta go down to SoCal and like hang out with Richard Knowles. Love him. So here's the big thing, guys. Number 1's going to be written. Okay. Number 2 is 2D flat imagery, screenshots, visuals. Take a screenshot of the website, draw a freaking circle on it, right? Some people, they don't like reading and then they like just looking at still images. Okay. That's part 2. Mm-hmm. Part 3 is the video demonstration of it. This is a demo video. Guys, Loom is like freaking free, I think. So every single task, right? If it is data input, if you're a lender and a lead just came in and someone just asked for you to fund a deal, cool. What does the underwriting process look like in a step-by-step basis? You need to record yourself going over it, and you can do that on Loom. It's very freaking easy. It's very easy. You hit those 3 prongs, you've hit like a solid, comprehensive SOP base that is now transferable. And that's the key. And even if you're the person in the Loom, it doesn't matter. As long as that Loom comes with the business when you sell the business, it's actually worth something. And so here's some high-level game, guys. Marlon, you're going to love this. Let me do that. You're going to love this. I'm going to put this in here. And I am completely ripping this off from my buddy, Ryan Schroep. I want everyone to go play with napkin.ai. Napkin.ai is an insane AI program. Guys, I love AI programs. I think AI programs are just doing so much stuff that's like revolutionizing how we can do business. Guys, Napkin.ai has this amazing feature where it's based on this. You copy and paste text, right? Like step one. Hey, Sasha, how's it going? I even told Sasha about Napkin AI. Guys, if you guys want to know who is responsible for keeping me sane and making sure we make a lot of money, it is Sasha. Okay, napkin.ai is amazing. Why? You put in text, right? Step one, do this, that, or the other. And then what does napkin.ai do? It auto generates that. It takes that text and it converts it into visuals. So you can say input lead into CRM, do this, whatever the hell it is, and it will visualize that for you. So you don't have to sit there racking your brain with like, what illustrations do I have to come up with or do I have to draw? The AI does it for you. And the cool thing is it's really damn good. So when you go and just do the written stuff step by step, and then you go and convert that to visuals, you don't even have to do it anymore. Napkin AI does it. And that's the cool thing. So 1/3 of the SOP base can just be handled by AI now, which is pretty freaking awesome. So Marlon, do you know about that? Did you know that thing existed or tools like that
literally like I'm on Napkin AI right now, just looking at it. And I'm like, this is clutch. This is so good.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. Anytime you have a landing page now or like a website for a business that where you send traffic to, trust me, don't have word vomit everywhere, right? That's how we naturally do things. So we want to highlight. See, Sasha says it translated our SOPs into visuals 100%. And then guess what? Now, right, our personnel, our people can like actually understand things. And the cool thing is Sasha doesn't have to sit there and try to figure out, how do I visualize this? If I'm going to draw like a hierarchy of whatever these steps are, like she doesn't have to become creative. The program does it for her. So napkin.ai, everyone needs to play with it. Marlon, trust me, don't just use it for the SOPs in your business. Start looking at it from an advertisement marketing standpoint and how to use it in just ad creatives. It's actually insane. We're scratching the surface with it in my portfolio business, which I'm really stoked on. Okay, enough about SOPs. That stuff matters. I'm gonna take a second drink some water.
Yeah, let's say we got it, but I freaking love this, right? Because one, those are tools, and I do agree with you. Being able to have visuals matter. In fact, people learn in picture. It's how we communicate. We've communicated since the Stone Age, right? Before, like, really, we had language and even written language. We had pictures on the walls. So pictures are effectively how we communicate. The most amount of brain cells in our brain actually go to the visual cortex. So that's insane. I like this. Let's get back to talking about building out teams, because your success is something that it's because you've been able to build out teams, because you've been able to create true leadership and give people the resources they need in order to build out the vision that you've communicated. Let's get into that, because that's the secret sauce last night. And I'm hoping that Roman is the guy I met last night. I'm hoping he's watching this, because he was asking questions about this exact topic. So I really hope he's seeing this episode here tonight.
Are you okay, Roman? Oh, you're not talking about Raphael Roman. Okay, so
no.
I love this, and I'm gonna hit on this because I've got the time to hit on this for a second. And this is something I've talked about before, and I don't think people understand like the value in this. And this is me again, just parroting things that I've heard from my friends and people that I look up to and I admire. This story. It's a story that Rob Wensley told us about what the multi-billionaire, whose name Sir Richard Branson, who's the founder of the Virgin Mobile company, and like he founded an airline, founded like a million different things, and he's basically has multiple or several billion-dollar businesses back to back to back. Robert Wensley had the good fortune of being able to sit with him, and he asked him one critical question, and that was, and I'm paraphrasing here, you've been responsible for a billion-dollar company back to back to back to back. How have you done it? And he gave him a 3-step foundational like framework to follow. And he said, number one is your job as a business owner, as a visionary, as a CEO, to create this massive, massive vision. And it needs to be so crystal clear, right? I remember Rob telling me this. He's like, Sam, you need to be able to look 5 years in the future and know what the headline on New York Times says that day, that morning. That's how crystal clear this vision needs to be. And then once you have that vision and it is that crystal clear, what do? You go into the world and you find the best talent on earth, the best freaking talent possible to execute on that vision. You bring them in and then you give them every tool, every resource, everything possible that they could ever need to execute on that vision. And then number 3, Marlon, do you remember what number 3 is? The third piece, that billionaire Richard Branson. That's it. Get the hell out of their way. So have the vision, get the best talent in the world, give them everything they need, and then honestly, almost most importantly, get the hell out of their way. Sasha knows this. I have a really like annoying habit of every time Sasha has a problem, I don't like say, here's how we solve it. I say, what resource do you need? And then I give it to her, and then I just like bounce, and then Sasha has to go figure it out. And the funny thing is, I think she's become amazing at solving problems because she's learned to be so resourceful and so creative in solving all these things. It's huge. Okay, guys, don't hire from communities you're in. Okay, as a guy who's done it, Marlon's done it. We've partnered. Don't do it. Not worth it. Trust me. Learn how to create a business. Number 2, build SOPs in everything that you do, every task, everything. If you have an employee underneath you or a partner who works, and if maybe you're a solopreneur, every single task you do in the day, you need to be documenting to some degree. Hell, document it at least in a written capacity. Napkin AI will be able to actually Loom video it. You know why?
I was about to say, yeah, Loom video, get the transcript from Loom.
Like everything. If you ever have to, there you go.
Yeah, if you got to do something more than once ever in your life, you need to Loom video it. If it's going to be something that you do even twice ever, Loom it, transcribe it, and now I know you can take the transcription in Napkin. But dude, Loom is a game changer. It's a camcorder method.
There you go. Yeah. So Loom it first. If you're the most lazy human being on earth, like I am, Loom it. Loom will give you the transcription. You may have to pay extra for it. I'm not sure. Loom will give you the transcription. You feed the transcription into Napkin AI. Now you've got the transcribed, you've got the visual, and you've got the video. That's huge. Guess what, guys? That SOP base is actually worth something because it stays in the business. It's the intellectual property, not of you, but of the business that the work is being conducted for. And when you decide to sell the business or value the business, it's actually quantifiable, right? You know me, I come from like a legal background, and there's things where people have evidence, but the evidence is what we call inadmissible in court, right? Like polygraphs are inadmissible because there's a lot of wishy-washy ways to get around them, right? I've gone through polygraphs. You can 100% cheat a polygraph. It's true. They're inadmissible in court. Guys, a faulty SOP base is basically inadmissible in a sale, in a value. If you're trying to calculate your net worth, like I do every single quarter to make sure I'm growing, I can't count stuff that doesn't come with the sale. That's huge, right? So I'm gonna take a sip of water right now.
I absolutely love this. And so I want to bring something back to your, based on what you said earlier. And I like highlighting some things because I know sometimes it can get lost on people. And so I like to pull out what I think is important. You mentioned when hiring, go to places like Indeed, go to places like Monster, go to places where employees are currently looking for jobs, because effectively this is the same as if you're looking for properties, getting good data. It's the same thought process. You want to go and market to the people who actually have motivation for what you need. When you go there, something I discovered, and I figured this out totally on accident because, Sam, I had no clue how to write a job description. I haven't had a job since I was 16, at least on the books job. And so I don't know how to write job descriptions. What I discovered was I can go to Indeed, type in the position that I would want to hire for, and see what the biggest and best and brightest companies are writing about that job description. And now I, quite frankly, copy and pasted. Right? In school, it was called cheating. In the real world, it's called collaboration. So I would collaborate with Fortune 500 companies and get their job description.
I think the other party has to like know that you're doing the collaborating for it to be collaborating. Yeah, bro, but that's huge, right? Man. And you've mentioned this on Think Big before, and even I was pissed off because I'm like, even I didn't think about that. So like, guys, think about it this way. Let's pretend in your market, there is a top dog lender, okay? And he's got a loan application specialist, and their job is to basically underwrite every single deal that comes in through a loan application. And you want to take this guy's seat, right? You want to surpass this dude in your marketplace. What do? When you go hire for the same position, you don't just go and copy and paste it. I think you go look at it, see what's wrong with it, make it better, and see what you have to do to make it better. And so that's absolutely freaking huge. And you can do this, fun fact, with pretty much every business, every role, every position. Okay, that's huge. Okay, I want to move on to this next step because this is key. And this is, in my opinion, bro, you can hire from Indeed. I know tons of people who hire from like the right places, and then they have the SOPs and it works. And you know what's still going to happen, bro? They are going to hit a cap between 1 to 3 million, I swear. And I know this because we're working on implementing a lot of this in a portfolio company to get us to 5 million in the next, hopefully, 18 months in this portfolio business. And I think we can do it. And here's a critical thing. So when you guys go and hire, do you guys know that you don't hire for the person, you hire for the roles and responsibility required in that position? So a lot of times people, they have a friend or a homie, or they want to work with someone. And for a lot of visionaries, it's like, oh, I really like that person, or that girl's really cute and she's in a mastermind with me, so I'm going to create a position in my business for her. Guess what? The business doesn't need that. What you need to do is take the role or the lacking in the business, right? The constraint, the deficiency in the business, figure out what roles and responsibilities on a day-to-day capacity need to be addressed and need to be executed on for your business to grow through wherever you're trying to grow through. It's cool. We get that. That's your job application. Those are your roles and responsibility. You hire for that. Here's the issue. Everyone sucks at hiring the right talent. Marlon, if I give most people 50 applicants to a job, most of them are going to do this. They're going to only interview half of them, or maybe the majority of them, because half the people, or like 30%, miss out or reschedule or whatever. And then, so let's just say out of the 50 people that apply, you go and interview 30. Okay. You know how most people are going to decide out of those 30 who's going to get the job? Usually it's just like, it's just the person they like the most. And I can't fault them for that, right? I really can't. And the reason why is because if you're going to spend a lot of time with this person, you might as well like them, right? But the issue with that being your only barometer, or your number one barometer, or your main priority, even though it's understandable, is why you will hit 1 million, but you won't hit 5. It's why you will hit 5 million, but you won't hit 10. The reason why is because out of that 30, just because someone interviews poorly doesn't mean that they're not the actual best for the job. And people are nervous in interviews. There's people who are phenomenal interviewers. They have the shittiest work ethic on earth, and they're likable. You know how I know this? You know how Marlon knows this? Because he and I are both really freaking good at sales. And sales is really just a game of how much can I get you to like me over the phone or on a Zoom call? Like, forget everything else. If you like me, I know you're going to give me your credit card for $50,000. Like, that's just it. Like, that's really it. And so this is the key, guys. Before you go through a round of interviews, okay? Before you go through a round of interviews, and this is funny, man. I'm going to, quick little note here. I'm in $177,000 worth of mentorships, mastermind, CEO coaching, or community, right? All of this self-development, tons of rooms. This is something that is only talked about at the highest level rooms, and it is a default to growing your business. Whenever you put up a job posting and you get 50 applicants, you are not allowed to have an interview with any of them until one critical step happens. Marlon, you know what that is?
I'm curious as to what your answer is.
What do all 50 applicants have to go through before you jump on interviews with them?
Well, they've got to be screened. I would say if any one of them's coming through, they're getting screened, and they need to do work. They need to have done something that would show that they're qualified for the position.
Yep. So here's the key. Guys, the predictive index testing is the biggest hack you will ever see in hiring. The biggest hack. It is how you find out whether or not someone interviews amazingly or not. You will find the diamonds in the rough, right? And here's the other issue. If you get 50 applicants and you try to have 50 interviews, you as a hirer, as a recruiter, unless you're a professional hirer, and unless you know how to dig and dig and dig, and you can come to each person digging equally, what's going to end up happening is you're going to become so jaded by the end of it, you're not going to really know who's the best, right? Everything's going to be kind of a blur. You put all of these people through what's known as a PI test, or a predictive index test. And guys, I used to think this stuff was like wonky bullshit, who was just like, a lot of woo-woos type of stuff that, just like computer's going to magically tell me this person's the right hire. Like, guys, there's like millions of data points that this stuff picks up on. Millions of data points that you never would have understood, you never would have seen. And what this does is it almost to a T quantifies personality. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. But the PI testing, right? And there's like a bunch of different ones out there, but there is like one predictive index company that's like the biggest and best one. You have to buy licenses for it. You put all of your applicants through it. And what's going to happen is this. It's going to have you upload your job posting or job description, or select like, what type of position this is. And it knows exactly what type of personality indexes and personality traits are synergistic with this job posting. And then you have all of these applicants, all 50 of them, go through it. You know what's going to happen? It's going to remove 47 of them. And only 3 of them, it's going to tell you these are the only 3 you need to interview. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to save weeks in hiring. You're going to save weeks in going through like a lot of muck to find out these were the right people. And here's the crazy thing, though. Those 3 people, what if they were just nervous during the interview? You would never have realized that they were the best in the game for what you need in your business. So hire from the right places, have the SOP so you set them up to succeed. But in the hiring process, you are not allowed to interview people unless you go and have them go through the predictive index testing first. I promise you, it will be huge. And
there's something more with that. With the predictive index, there's something more with that, which is it's not just even about you knowing they're the right fit for the job. It's also about them being put in the right seat for themselves. Because sometimes when you get someone, for example, if someone said, I want to come and work with Sam because I see that he's going places, I simply just want to be around him, and I am willing to do whatever it takes to get in, to be a part of his inner circle. So I see he put a job posting up. I'm going to go and I want to be that guy. And they were willing to put themselves in the wrong seat where they're actually not going to perform at the highest level. You want to put people in a seat where they're actually going to be able to thrive and win heavy in that position. Set people up to win. It's going to make your job easier. It's going to make their life better.
That's so funny that you said that, man. I was talking to Ryan Schroep about this, and he knows this. He understands this. He understands this now, I should say. And he and I talked about this. I told him that I am in a position in my life where I do not want to hire for any of my portfolio businesses from social media. I don't want you to know who I am. I don't want you to know about my brand. I don't want you to know about the things that I'm working on in terms of brand, because the chances, if you are like a supporter or a fan, which I love, the problem is I don't know that you're going to be held accountable to the role I'm hiring you for, because the business needs you to perform. Right. And so I was telling Ryan Schroep this. I'm like, dude, this is why the best in the game, Hermosi, right? Sometimes he'll like post like, hey, we're looking for like a videographer for whatever. Right. And the reason why they do that is because that person needs to understand the brand. And so it's someone that follows him. Makes sense. It's actually better suited for the job. But for his portfolio businesses, however many he has, however big they are, have you ever seen him go to social media and say, hey, I'm hiring for this role for a portfolio company? Hell no. Why? Because the person who applies wants to just get close to Alex Hermosi and doesn't want to actually serve the business, right? And so that's actually a key point. Funny enough, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this. Sasha gives me so much shit about this sometimes. It's actually kind of hilarious. She actually had no idea who I was. She had never known my name, like when she first came and started working for me. And fun fact, out of like the 200 people who were like in this giant hiring wave with Sasha, she was the only one who had no background on me. And she's the one who ended up becoming the best one possible. And she's actually a freaking partner now. So I told Ryan, I'm like, bro, like that's a huge hack. Guys, we're running up on time. I want to highlight this really quick. I love this, bro, because I went over this 2 weeks ago. The fact that Karen can recount this. Guys, episode 92, the 6 core components in business: product, service, marketing, sales, right? I think Marlon, Johnson, and I think you would agree. You and me are both really good at marketing and sales. Those are our 2 like strong points. Fulfillment, HR, legal, finance. Guys, perfect one of these things. I promise you will bypass 95% of your competition. This is just the simple truth. The bar is that low. You want to have a monopoly in your marketplace, get really good at 2 or 3 of them. You want to hit that big 100 million billionaire kind of metric. You got to get really damn good at all 6. Karen, I appreciate you for even remembering that, because those 6 core pillars are a huge part of what I'm working on right now. Marlon, we don't have enough time, bro. This is like a 4-hour masterclass in hiring and showing people how to hire. But we don't got time for that. What do they got to do?
Dude, great freaking job tonight. I love it. I was taking notes on you. I love listening to you talk, so I'm glad I got some Sam Sing time. For the rest of you, if you also enjoyed some Sam Sing time tonight, here's what you need to do to make sure it happens again. We run these podcast episodes for free, and we will continue to do them for free as long as you are getting value. Now, we are not mind readers. We don't know if you're getting value. The way that you show you're getting value is by first smashing the like button. So go ahead, hit the thumbs up right now so that we know you were here, that you watched, that you cared, and this helped. Second, if you aren't subscribed to the channel already, or if you're watching this as a replay, subscribe to the channel, because as we see the subscription channel go up, as we see those numbers go up, we understand, great, this is resonating. The algorithm actually begins to find more people who are like us, and it starts to connect us online. It starts to bring the content to other people who are going to be served by it. And finally, the thing you need to do, and this is, if not the most important, share this with a friend. I want you to think deeply right now about who is somebody that you know that maybe was asking questions about building out their team, asking questions about how to automate their business, beginning to have that conversation about what it may or may not look like to exit a company and to build for that purpose. And they're looking to connect and just think and gain new perspective on this. Share tonight's episode with them and say, listen, I think you really need to listen to this, and let them know why you think they need to listen to it. Those are your dues tonight. Everybody do that homework. And when you share it with a friend, use social media, right? Like, this is how we make it happen. Use social media or text it out. So, guys, we will be back next week again, Tuesday at 5 o'clock PSC.